So a number of issues playing itself out in the polity, which we'll take a look at. There's that report in Borno ascribed to the speaker, saying that some local governments are still under the control of Boko Haram. And then some reports about 30 persons being kidnapped in Enugu. And then in Imo, police also did say that the policeman and some others have been killed, even though they said they repelled the attack. But that of Bauchi, I remember the Komani Al-Khairi area where oil was discovered, is controversial at the moment. So those are some of the issues we'll highlight this morning. We've got two gentlemen joining us this morning to shed some light on this matter. Dr. Manu Ojukwu is the Provost, Police Public Relations School, Abuja. He's a former Commissioner of Police for Kogi, Eastern Ports, and Enugu Command. He's a former Force PRO and member, Anambra State Truth, Justice and Peace Commission. Well, sitting beside him is Honorable Aliyu Ibrahim Gebi, the National Coordinator, Security Governance Initiative, and the former member, Security Committee for the House of Representatives. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for coming.
Good morning. Yes.
Let me start with you, Honorable Gebi. Even though the Bauchi State Police Command has issued a statement about what they think happened in Bauchi, in fact, they were categorical that no such attack happened. But there are still some unanswered questions that this press release hasn't answered. So from your perspective, what do you think happened?
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. I think it will be premature to come on national TV and begin to preempt a conclusion to an event that is still sketchy. Personally, I'm from Bauchi, and I will tell you with all sense of responsibility that up till now, nobody has reached out to me from Bauchi to tell me that such an incident occurred in Bauchi. But having said that, there is a lot of chatter around from some credible sources, and as was discussed earlier, some quite detailed description of what may have happened. So I think we should give it a little bit of time, perhaps later part of today, to see exactly what transpired. Whether there was an incident, one, and then two, the magnitude of the incident, and then three, the location of the incident. I think the state government is quite responsible, and besides, you have other security agencies that will not shy away from stating the truth. The DSS formation, for example, in Bauchi, will certainly come out and tell you exactly what transpired. So I think we shouldn't preempt. We should wait a little bit and pray for the best and hope for the best also.
But Dr. Ojukwu, you're in public relations, and the way police handle this matter will shape a lot, either in terms of the perspective, perception, the narrative out there. But many will say, they've had some time on their hands with which they even came up with a press release. And press releases in this kind of matter, does it cut it? Shouldn't they be speaking to people and explaining those details rather than just a press release?
Well, a press release is to advertise what happened and make a statement as to their position, the veracity or otherwise of a certain report or an alleged attack at a facility. That press release addresses it. But sometimes it may be sketchy, may not be as detailed, and sometimes too, a release may be done in a hurry, which is a fault. A release has to be well thought out, and it has to be a definitive statement. So I think, as my colleague mentioned here, a lot more satellites has to be beamed on that incident, alleged incident. I do believe that in the days ahead, we may get a clearer picture. If there are contrary reports or issues suggesting that the police was hasty and the police did not give the correct picture of what happened, they may revisit it. It's not a final document, actually. So I do believe that if such a facility was attacked and the international community are interested in what is happening, Nigerians too, all you have just been discovered there, a lot of eyes on it. The police has to revisit that situation and then maybe later in the day or within the week, give a definitive statement.
I'm looking at the police statements right now, and it is interesting. They say while the aim of the promoters of the unfortunate story is unknown, the negative reports or such negative reports could undermine the efforts of the police and other security services. But if you look at the detail now, they did not dismiss in its entirety the fact that that place had been experiencing some security challenges. They say, sequel to the commissioning of the Kolmani oil field project site, the command deployed more operational assets and intensified intelligence gathering and visibility patrols in a bid to decimate the activities of non-state actors in the area. So it does look like there have been the presence of non-state actors in the area before now. But to just simply dismiss and say that, you know, the aim of those who put out that story, I'm looking at the actual words that they use now. Yeah, they say the attention of the Bauchi State Command has been drawn to the viral media publications in some sections of the media alleging that 10 people were killed in a week by kidnappers around newly discovered field communities. The story is false in its entirety. That's what they said. But you have to ask, what will it profit any media house to sit and concoct stories, naming leaders, naming and saying that people have fled the area, and that, you know, some people have been kidnapped, and that the least ransom that has been paid in that particular area is about 2 million naira. These are, you know, very, very detailed, you know, instances. So, and the police is also admitting that there have been security challenges in that area prior to this time. So there are questions as to, is the police being entirely, you know, correct? Or, because I fear if you say that there will be other security agencies that could come up in future to give a clearer picture, couldn't that sort of thing cause rivalry? Shouldn't there be a, you know, a clearer explanation of what actually transpired?
Well, you know, there's been a lot of synergy among the security agencies. And if an incident of that nature happened in Alkalere, the police, the DSS, and perhaps the military may have come to the picture. And they will share intelligence, they will share reports. So I believe that in the days ahead, we may get a clearer picture of what happened there. But that the police deploy some assets to Alkalere is not an ongoing process. It's like a routine now. Many areas of Nigeria have issues. Alkalere area, that stretch, also has some issues.
All right, gentlemen, pardon me. I understand I've just been told we need to go on a quick break to address a certain challenge, but we will be back in just a moment. Join us again. All right, welcome back. It's a live show, so sometimes you get some of these things. So please go ahead with your response.
So if there are emerging information, if there are new information as to what happened, if there are new reports from eyewitnesses or relatives or victims themselves, maybe we may get a clearer picture and the police will revisit.
Yeah, but when you have already said the entire story is false,
it could be hasty. It could be hasty, maybe in response. It could be a reaction and not really a response. They just reacted to what they had and all that. I believe they will revisit it if there are new information. And if there's also, if there are feedbacks or input from other agencies who may have presence in that location. And I do know a number of them have presence there. So I'm sure they'll share notes and address the issues properly and let Nigerians be at peace.
But it appears as though there's a lot more. You know, when you talk about perhaps the DSS will come up, you come across as though there's a lot more information that is not out yet.
No, you see, we have to again be very, very careful. First and foremost, Alkalere is the current governor's, Bauchi State governor's primary constituency. So if there's anyone that has skin in this game, it is the governor of Bauchi, Governor Bala Mohammed, who is from that area, like I said. Number two, Alkalere and its immediate environs now is of specific economic importance to Nigeria. So it is not just another location. So if there are issues, there are technical components that should be kicked into process, and some other things will take precedence over some other things. Unlike the colleague here said, nobody is operating in a silo. Never again in Nigeria, certainly not within the security and defense matrix. So whatever may have happened, even if there was an incident, perhaps the way that it has been reported, just because oil has been discovered in that space, gives now a wider space for mischief makers, people to distort and contort information. And we're in a country where people fabricate lies, stories with dead bodies and so on and so forth, and put it out there. So again, I would tarry a little while and wait for the political leadership of Bauchi State to put out its own statement.
Well, gentlemen, let's switch to this matter in Borno. It raises some concern because the Speaker of the Borno State House of Assembly, not once, not twice, almost more than 3 times now. In January, there was that in February, and again over the week, he says that 2 local government areas in Borno State are under the control of Boko Haram insurgents, and he went ahead to name those local government areas. So how do we deal with this kind of scenario? You've heard about that, have you?
Yes, certainly. You see, what worries me more than anything else is the fact that in terms of fighting insecurity in Nigeria, everyone is looking for just political successes. No one is looking for operational successes. Operational successes happen every second of every minute of every hour. Close to 100,000 people have surrendered, have crossed the line, whether civilians, whether fighters, their families, or whatever. These are people who are hitherto across the other line. That is without contestation. Number 2, some of the Chibok girls were recovered this year, I think between 12 and 14. Again, that is an operational success. But people are looking for tangible political successes because this is the season. So if the senior colleague, the Speaker of the State Assembly, says 2 local governments are still being occupied by the insurgents, and you claim to say you said he mentioned them, still, what does it mean? Who knows who is occupying what space? Who is where, when and how and why? So I would be a little bit careful in making blanket statements that X is taking or has taken over location A or B or C. And let us not also forget that this is political season. So people who need certain insecurity stories in order for them to get re-elected or to justify not being elected or to cast aspersions on a very transparent process that has started by INEC would jump on whatever situation they could so as to maximize whatever intent they might have.
We'll shed a lot more light on that and get Dr. Chukwu's response, since you say we're in the political season. Now, speaking about being in the political season, in Imo State, some attack did occur there, some news just coming in. At the moment, we do have the police public relations officer, Michael Abatam, for Imo State. He joins us virtually this morning to shed some light on what transpired. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program. So, could you tell us, we understand that some attack in an INEC office and some persons killed. What happened?
Well, thank you, Charles. At about 0:30 hours this morning, suspected members of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra and its affiliates, Eastern Security Network, gave me their numbers to the INEC office through petrol bombs and dynamite, but we are giving a street fight for the policemen on ground. They were hit badly and they took to their heels. While they were running, they abandoned a black Lexus vehicle, and we gave them a hot chase. The command tactical team were able to follow them, chase them, and in the process, we were able to neutralize 3 of them. We recovered 3 AK-47 from them, 3 pump-action guns, 2 yet to be detonated IEDs. We equally recovered petrol bombs, charms, and other dangerous weapons. As I speak to you, 2 has been caught alive with bullet injuries. We are still combing. More information will be given to you. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Batam, in terms of their identity, is it clear? I was going to ask how the police were able to identify categorically that they were members of, what you said, they're members of IPOD and ESN, is that what you said?
We suspected, I said suspected member. Suspected member.
Suspected.
Because it's presently, yes, we are investigating. It is the outcome that our investigation that will determine those who will be held complicit.
I'm looking at the damage right now wrought by those people very early this morning. Initially under the impression that a number of INEC offices were under heavy police protection. But it does look like they were able to rout some damage before they were eventually repelled. Can you give us, a picture as to what happened? Is it that there was nobody there and then the police were called in, or what really transpired?
What exactly happened was that they seized the advantage of a filling station that is close to the INEC office. So it was from that axis, because there's a common fence between the INEC office and the filling station. So they seized that opportunity, and through the IAD, that, of course, we all know the effects of IAD. Once it explodes, it ignites. That is the damage you are seeing. But we were able to put the fire out. So not much, okay? Not much damage.
So you're confirming to us.
Yes, I'm saying.
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, two offices. One just by the gate where the dynamite hit, and then the other one, the two petrol bomb. Those are the effects we are seeing. But the office is still intact.
So you say that you're still hot on the chase of the people who came. Do you have an idea of how many of them came, the attackers?
Well, from what we gathered, it was dark. We cannot say precisely the number, but they came in their numbers, and they came in 5 vehicles. We have recovered 3 of the vehicles because, like I said, they abandoned one due to the superior firepower of the police. They took to their heels, and we gave them a very hot chase, and that was how we were able to neutralize 3 of the hoodlums.
Well, I do not know whether to say, well done. I mean, because really you're putting out your best and you're doing the best that you can. I just wanted to confirm, we also heard some stories that one of your men was hit. Is that true?
Of course, one of our officers paid the supreme price. One was injured and is in good condition in one of the medical facilities.
Mm.
I can show you things.
How easy?
I can show you things with the cover.
Yeah.
They're here.
Okay, just a minute. How easy or difficult is it? Yeah, we can see some of them. How easy or difficult is it for the police to get intelligence? Because this appeared to have been carefully planned before they came out to execute it.
Yeah, the police and other security agencies were working in synergy, and we are doing our best. And as you can see, this is the result of one of our synergy.
Okay, just hold on for some more questions from my colleagues.
Sincerely speaking, we are not relenting. What I want to say here is that policing is everybody's responsibility. See something, say something has always been our slogan. We want people, if you see something, you let us know so that we can take action on time.
Mr. Abatam, what's the extent of damage of property inside the INEC office? That's on the one hand. And on the second hand, how similar is this attack to earlier attacks on INEC offices in Imo State that was attributed to being the work of IPOB?
Well, the rate of damage, like I said, is minimal. It's minimal. It's not what you see on social media. We're on the ground, and we can tell you what exactly happened. And just like I'm telling you, it's one of the offices, the building, and one other. And like I said, it has to do with the effect of dynamite, because dynamite go in, explode, and it ignites.
Similar is this to earlier attacks on INEC offices in Imo State?
If you recall, we have always repelled them. They have never succeeded. They have never. And we are working assiduously to make sure that election in Imo State will hold. And like I said, security agencies are working in synergy. So this is an eye-opener for whoever wants to come in and test our power. We are out for them, and our intelligence are key, and they are working.
All right, then Mike Abatam, Public Relations Officer for Imo State Police Command. Thank you very much indeed for your time, and well done.
Thank you
All right, let's
very
get
much.
back to studio here. So, Dr. Juku, well, you were going to get a response. The two local governments in question here, as highlighted by the Speaker of Borno State House of Assembly, Kukawa and Guazamala in Borno North Senatorial District. So, what kind of response, for instance, what role? Because, I mean, when it has to do with insurgency, most times you always ask, where is the policing component in all of this?
The policing component is deep, is heavy. The insurgency up north, in the northeast, has been it's been battled by a combination of forces. All the forces are involved. The military, the police, the SS, all the security organizations are involved in that operation. And they're making significant successes. It is true it's been on for a number of years. But you and I will agree that in the last 2-3 years, a lot of work has been done, a lot of successes done, a lot of areas liberated and reoccupied by the indigenes and citizens. You know. So a lot of work has been done. If there was a relapse in the two areas the Honorable Speaker mentioned, I do believe the security agencies will revisit and they reject the operations to reclaim them for Nigerians.
Yeah, but doesn't this appear to be some sort of lapse here? If these two local governments, he says, are being occupied by the insurgents, so can this be a political statement?
I'll tell you this, with all due respect. I think it is impossible for the insurgents that have been almost totally degraded to occupy Guzamala and Kukawa. It is almost impossible.
Why do you say so?
Because the saturation of forces in the theater, as my colleague just mentioned, is a joint task force, it's a joint operation, moving from Nigeria upwards and then coming from the MNJTF downwards, the push. And you have other countries present there, and the assets that we have, and the surge of troops and so on and so forth. It is practically impossible.
So why would the Speaker be on record?
Again, this is political season. I'm not from Borno State, and certainly I'm not contesting any office. But there are politicians who need chaos in order for them to succeed. There are some who need insecurity in order for them to remain in office or to be elected into office. Then there are those who need peace to return in order for them to be elected into office or for them to retain their offices. And this is played out across the entire Nigerian spectrum, from the northwest, the north central to the northeast. But in terms of the northeast, this insurgency, without a shadow of a doubt, we are at the consolidation phase, which is the end of the insurgency in the northeast part of the country.
So why would he then maintain this same stance almost all through this year? Also, almost always asking security agencies, the army, to go in there and dislodge them if you want a political capital.
Excellent point. Now, is the terrain being occupied or is the terrain being contested? In insurgencies, terrains can be contested. People will move in. It will not be habitable for them. People will move out.
He says it's under the control.
Under the control, yes. But then perhaps the Right Honourable Speaker himself should explain what he means by under the control. And as a Speaker of Parliament, a state legislature, I would like to think he would be a little bit more cautious and careful with his statements, especially at this time.
In what way?
By being responsible. He's a leader in Borno State. The theater command is there. All the formations are there. The governor is there. We see the governor almost every single day running from one point to the other with his entire cabinet. So there are better ways of articulating his points. Even if there are political differences and he feels the political component will not listen to him, the security matrix is there at his disposal. The theater command is there. The SDS of the DSS is there. The police are there, and so on and so forth. And if he had been consistent in saying this same thing, Believe you me, the way Nigerians inquire, investigate, interrogate, by now someone would have brought out irrefutable evidence of these areas being fully occupied by insurgents and perhaps with their flags flying.
We cannot independently verify if he's taking advantage of these channels that you highlighted. But Mr. Ojukwu, how should the authorities be responding to this kind of scenario?
Oh, well, if we think the man is crying wolf or is being mischievous, trying to disinform or misinform, I think the law will take its course.
What if he's not?
If it's not, and if for us to know whether he was acting on the mischief streak, he has to be investigated. If he has been crying for since January, as you said, in fact, it's a shame that by December, a lot has not been done. From January till now, nothing has been done towards stopping the situation from deteriorating or addressing the issues he raised, then I'll be ashamed if with the security services. I do believe they must have gone into it to realize whether it is true or not, and if it's true, take necessary actions to reclaim the territory.
Well, gentlemen, it's a packed Monday, and as such, we expect that there will be some follow-up on this kind of matters and all of those security issues that have been highlighted, but I'm afraid that we have to anchor this segment at this point because we also have some other matters coming about. It's by no means exhausted. We'll always keep this kind of matters, ongoing so that we can all get results. Politics notwithstanding. But gentlemen, I have to thank both of you for coming on. Honorable Ali Ibrahim Gebi, National Coordinator, Security Governance Initiative, and the former member, Security Committee of the House of Representatives, as well as Dr. Emmanuel Ojukwu, the Provost of Police Public Relations School here in Abuja. Thank you both for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
We're back in a moment, everyone. Stay with us.